If you were asked to design the absolute simplest table possible, you'd probably come up with something exactly like the IKEA Lack coffee table. No fancy angles, no intricate details. It is perfectly, almost aggressively, featureless. This chart shows global inflation rates against the price of the Lack table since it launched in 1981. Notice this steady climb, representing 40 years of rising costs for materials and labor. But down here, the price of the table is completely flat. It debuted at just under $10, and despite decades of economic pressure, it still sells for exactly $9.99 today. Maintaining that $9.99 price tag means every millimeter of the table has been redesigned to remove cost. To understand how they pull this off, you have to look at how furniture used to be made. Before the 1950s, if you wanted a new wardrobe or coffee table, a professional woodworker would spend weeks cutting, assembling, and finishing heavy, solid pieces. Then came the logistics. Every piece was shipped fully assembled. Movers were left straining to load these massive, heavy objects into the backs of trucks, taking up an immense amount of dead space in transit. Because every single step of this process was slow and labor-intensive, filling a home with everyday items was incredibly expensive. It was a luxury reserved almost entirely for the wealthy, creating a massive vacuum in the market for an affordable alternative. Let's break down the Lack table layer by layer to see exactly how it defies inflation, starting right here with the unopened cardboard box. The box itself traces back to a rural Swedish town in 1956. Product designer Gillis Lundgren was struggling to fit a new table into his car. The awkward shape made it impossible. Frustrated, he simply pulled out a saw and physically sawed the legs off so the table would slide perfectly into his trunk. That single moment of frustration triggered an operational pivot. Lundgren pitched the idea of detachable legs to his boss, and soon IKEA redesigned nearly their entire catalog so that every single product could be packed completely flat. This flat packing strategy solved the dead space problem in shipping. More importantly, it allowed the company to offload the massive costs of final assembly and home delivery directly onto the customer. Shifting assembly to the consumer created a new headache. When we open the box, we don't find traditional lumber. Natural wood fibers expand and contract as humidity changes, causing the boards to warp in unpredictable ways. For a custom piece, a carpenter can work around that. But when you mass-produce thousands of flat-packed parts, a warped board means the pre-drilled screw holes won't line up. Assembly becomes a nightmare. To fix this, IKEA switched to engineered particle board. Sawdust and resin pressed together to form perfectly flat, stable boards that hold their shape. There was one glaring issue. If you drive a traditional metal screw into particle board, the threads simply shred the compressed sawdust, turning it to dust instead of holding the joint together. To make self-assembly work, they utilized a knockdown fastener. A metal dowel extends from the first panel into a precise pre-drilled hole in the second. Then a cam lock is inserted. Twisting it grips the dowel, pulling the panels together without grinding the vulnerable sawdust. This specific connector is what makes the entire self-assembly model work. It allows someone with no tools to join two pieces of engineered wood with enough strength to survive daily use. By the 1980s, rising lumber costs threatened the table's strict $10 price point. To maintain their margins, they had to radically reduce the actual physical material inside the tabletop itself. In a hexagon, walls sit 120 degrees apart. Downward force spreads outward, distributing weight safely. IKEA applied this geometry to cheap paper. Sandwiched between thin particle board sheets, this paper honeycomb mimics solid wood, using 90% less material. A decade later, another wave of inflation hit. The only solid wood left on the table was the legs. So IKEA developed a completely autonomous machine process that precisely folds thin strips of particle board around wooden end blocks. The result is a leg that is virtually empty inside. By substituting physical mass with clever geometric structures, first with the paper core and then with the hollow legs, they successfully detached their retail prices from the volatility of the global commodities market. Let's zoom out from the completed table for a moment and look at the retail environment itself. If the Lack table requires this much ruthless optimization just to stay at $10, the profit margins on it must be microscopic. So why even bother selling it? The answer lies in the design of the original 1958 IKEA store, which threw out the traditional straight-aisle shopping layout. Instead of letting shoppers walk straight to the item they want, the layout forces customers onto a single, winding route. You trace your way through dozens of departmental showrooms before reaching the checkout. This maze disorients shoppers, causing them to lose track of time and forget what they originally came to buy. As the journey drags on, resistance drops, and people become highly susceptible to impulse purchases. The $10 Lack table functions as a calculated loss leader. Its true purpose is simply to lure you into a carefully designed psychological labyrinth, where you inevitably spend a lot more than $10. This precise combination of flat packing logistics, clever material hacking, and retail psychology took a single rural Swedish shop and scaled it into a dominating global empire. Looking closely at the Lack table reveals a map of every logistical and material shortcut the company has discovered over 40 years. It proves that brilliant design doesn't always rely on expensive materials or elaborate craftsmanship. Often, it's found in systematic, unglamorous problem-solving. By shifting the labor to the customer and the structural integrity to geometry, IKEA ensured that furnishing a home was no longer a luxury reserved for the wealthy.